Welcome to class today. Practice is going to be about grounding today, about finding some footing underneath us when we are in times of transition or chaos. And I think we can probably all agree that right now we're in a time of great upheaval, especially in our political world that we're all dealing with. But on a very smaller scale, we are in the middle of transitioning from summer into fall. And if we look at this through the lens of some different healing modalities such as Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, this is a time where the fire of summer, which we call more of a yang energy, so it's very, it's warmth, it's heat, it's more outer focused in our activities, transitioning into yin. Excuse me, so as we go from fall to winter, we're getting more and more to the yin side of nature, where it starts to get colder and activity of the natural world starts to retreat and go deep down into the earth, into the roots of the plant. So in these times of transition, when we move from summer into fall or from yang into yin, they are tending to be times of uncertainty, right? There's instability, let's use that word. There's instability in the atmosphere as the yang energy has to sort of take that back seat and allow yin to move in. So we can notice this in our own bodies. How do we react? Perhaps on a physical level as we move from one season to the other. For many of us, it's a time when we come down with those seasonal colds as we go from summer into fall. We see allergies kicking up, things like that. And we might also start to feel a little bit of instability in our being, in our mental capacities. We might feel a little more scattered. So it's always recommended that as we transition from one thing to another, so in this case, a seasonal change, that we take time to ground ourselves. And that could be at any time in your life that you're going to make a big change, right? You're planning a big move in your career or your love life, or you're moving your household. These are all times of great change. And so it's helpful to ground ourselves, take time for reflection, take time to nurture ourselves before we make that big move. And then we're going to feel a little more stable as we transition through that challenging time. So grounding ourselves between these seasons, but also in dealing with the chaos of our world right now, we might be able to find a little more sense of calm within. So we'll work a bit with what I call the earth element. So earth element has a lot to do with grounding our energy. We'll work with some forward folds. We'll work with longer held postures, so we're not moving so quickly, right? Because as we do a quick practice and we move more, that's one way to get energy moving. But in this case, we want to stabilize energy, so we don't want to go too quickly with our movements. So the earth element is about our ability to feel at home with ourselves, to take in nourishment on all levels, mind, body, spirit. So in what ways can we take in nourishment? Through the food that we eat, through the senses, what we experience. Being out in nature is very nourishing for us. Our yoga practice, our breath practice. These are all things that are important. This also relates to our spleen qi in Chinese medicine. So spleen qi is our link between ourselves and the outside world, and what transforms what we take in into useful energy. So that food that we're taking in needs to be transformed in order to be useful to us. It's about responding appropriately, so having the resources to adapt to this new situation and not being so reactive, but more responsive. Having clear thinking and understanding and insight rather than that foggy brain of like, can't make choices, right? Can't follow through. So late summer is a time of earth element, time of nourishment, and we can think about how do we allow ourselves to be physically and mentally nourished. nourished. So we're going to come onto our backs in a moment and do like what I call the drop-in. So really releasing our body and our tissues into the earth. And then we're going to do a nice calf stretch to prepare our bodies for some of these forward folds and even some squatting that we're going to do. So please have some blocks nearby. And also we're going to use a strap right away when we come onto our backs in a few moments, so have that. You might even want to have a blanket or two. This could go under your head for this initial drop-in practice. And that's all we'll probably need. So go ahead and I invite you to come on your backs and feel the earth underneath your body. So go ahead and land here. And feel your whole body make an imprint on the ground. Feel the texture of the ground touching your skin. So if you have a carpet or a floor or your mat or a blanket, how does that feel touching your skin? And as you take a few rounds of breath, with every exhale, feel a softening of your body into the support of earth. Notice where your body is resisting letting go, and just feel supported, feel nourished by that ground. So I'm going to have you stay a few more moments there. I'm going to continue to share some more thoughts with you as you stay here and breathe. I have a little tickle, so I want to make sure I stay hydrated. So every process must invariably pass through its period of harvest, grand or small as it may be. Physically and spiritually, the period of late summer is a time for slowing down and gathering inward. It is a time when we recognize and hold the fruits of labor. Imagine a farmer filling the silo after the harvest. Now that the heavy work is over, he can reflect contentedly on all that has brought him to this moment and this season. So we'll take about 3 more breaths here. When these energies are balanced, we feel at home in our body, on this earth, and within ourselves. Great. So after those 3 breaths, go ahead and take a nice full body stretch. And then give the knees a hug and rock a little bit across your lower back. And then keep the right knee hugging in and let the left leg come out. And I'm going to show you this. So you might want to just take a moment and look up here. We're going to do a very specific strap position to help to wake the feet up to prepare us for, again, the squatting and forward folding. So you're going to take your strap around the front of your ankle. Okay, so I'll just pull up my pant leg so you can see. And then you're going to cross it behind your Achilles. And make sure that those strap tails are pretty even as you do that, okay? So around the front of your ankle, around the back, make a cross. And then you're going to bring it to the sole of your foot and make another cross. So you have it wrapped around the front, crossing the back of the ankle, and then coming up through the foot and crossing on the sole of the foot. It looks like you're wearing a little sandal or a little flip-flop, okay? So get that in place. I'll give you a moment to do that. And then we're gonna come onto our backs. If you're not there, you can do this while you're on your back. And we'll get a nice stretch into the foot, the Achilles, and the leg. So come on down. Again, that strap wraps. I'll do it one more time, just in case. Wraps around the front of your ankle, and then cross, and then bring it over your sole of your foot and cross it again. And that's where it gets a little tricky. Once you've got the two tails crossed, they should cross somewhere around the ball of your foot or the toes. You can hold that strap in both hands and be here for a moment. You can have a bend in your knee if you're tighter in the hamstrings. Otherwise, leg is 95% straight, just a little micro bend there. Coming to your breath. Make sure this is flat there. Coming to your breath and give a gentle pull down on your toes. And we can try a few things here. We might pull the strap a little bit more apart. Try not to let it slip off your foot. You could try pressing your toes up into the strap. And then feel how that feels a little different in the back of your calf, the back of your foot. Push the toes up. And now pull the toes down. And notice how that changes the sensation. And then do that a few times. Push the toes up into the strap and then pull down. Good. One more time. Push up and pull down. And now just hold it here for a few breaths in that pull down position. So anytime we work with feet, this is going to be grounding. So we have energy centers, sometimes some people say chakras in our feet that connect to the earth, right? So it's our grounding point. And we have kidney meridian points in the arches of our feet as well that are very grounding. One more breath here, please. Also getting some hamstring work. Okay, go ahead and bend the other knee, and you can start to undo that strap. Take it off, and then just hug that knee into your chest. And let's try the other side. Okay, so this one I'll do right on the back. Try to make sure your tail's pretty even. You're going to go around the front of the ankle, cross it behind. So that's stage one. And you might have to sit up to do this, because if you can't easily reach your foot. So now we're going to take the foot, and the strap crosses the sole of the foot. I'm actually going to come up. So it's easier to do. So I'm going to do this, and it's harder to talk you through it if I can't get this correct. So around the front of the ankle, cross it in the back, and then take it to your foot and cross it at your toes. Okay. And then we've got this little kind of flip-floppy looking thing on our foot. And now we can come back down. Okay. Head could be on the blanket. And as you pull on the strap, just feel how that feels on your foot, on the ankle joint. Maybe pull the strap apart a little bit. Remember, you can have that knee bent. And then from here, push the toes up into the straps. And then pull down on the strap. Do that a few more times. Push the toes up into the strap. So you've got to be crossed right around the toes. And then pull down. One more time, push up and pull down. Now, if any of this doesn't work for you, you can always do the same actions without the strap set up. Or if you don't have a strap, you could just do the flex and point your foot a few times. But now we're going to hold it. Hold up as high as you can toward your toes. Have that slight bend in the knees. One more breath. bring both knees into the chest. Rock a little bit. And then let's come into what I call squat on the back, which is a happy baby. So if we were with our feet on the ground, this would be like a squat. So have the feet facing the sky or the ceiling. Pull the knees down. And let the knees go a little wide. Let the shoulders drop, opening your chest. And then let the feet come towards each other so your big toes are just grazing each other. Still pulling those knees apart, but try to effort the toes towards each other. And the tailbone forward and down, shoulder blades down, chest open. One more breath. And then release, bring those knees back in, and we're going to roll over to one side. And we'll come on up into a seated posture. And you could perhaps sit up on that folded blanket if you like. That was under your head. All right, I'm just going to get a little bit closer to the camera. So I'm going to do a hand position next. So I like to do different hand positions, mudras, and also acupressure points. So this one's just going to be a mudra. I'm going to ask you to bring your pinky fingers to touch, and then your ring fingers to touch, and that's it. And then you're going to place that somewhere in front of your abdomen, preferably a little bit toward the navel or even below the navel if you can. So let it be nice and low. Let the chest stay lifted, shoulders back. And then close your eyes and come to your breath. And the reason for this mudra is called the Two Faces Mudra. The two hands opened out to the side, but also two aspects of this position of the hands is that our pinkies and our ring fingers are touching, and that is not by accident. So if we look at the principles of Ayurveda, in our pinkies, it is representing the water element, and in our ring finger, it is representing the earth element. And when we impress these two together, it's starting to increase the earth and water elements within us. So it creates a sense of stability, of calmness, of nurturing. Helps us deepen and slow our breath. So with eyes closed, take a few more breaths here. This is also good for calming worry. And worry is one of the emotions associated with a depleted earth element. So if earth element is depleted within us, we lack stability, we are not so grounded, we might be very much up in our heads, and that can increase the sensations and emotions of worry. But when we can ground ourselves and increase these earth, water elements within us, we might be able to find that that worry releases a bit. And then as we take about 3 more breaths, we're going to add in a little mental affirmation. And this affirmation is, I am the peace that rests within the depths of the earth. I am the peace that rests within the depths of the earth. I am the peace that rests within the depths of the earth. Let's take 3 more breaths here. After that 3rd breath, go ahead and just release your hands down, sit up tall, and just take a moment. On your next inhale, let's reach the arms out and overhead. And as you exhale, draw down through the center. center and open your palms up into that mudra. Below your navel. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, draw down through center. Open the palms up. And repeat one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower. And open the palms up. Okay. This time, inhale, reach. And as you exhale, we're going to side bend over to your right. Bring your right hand down. Walk your fingers out any amount. And come into a side bend. You can reach through that arm, spinning the pinky forward and toward the ground, and reaching long through the side body. Now, if this feels pretty mild, you can start to lower your elbow, dropping it toward the ground. Now, we might be tempted to look up here, but if we're working on an earth element grounding practice, we're not going to look up. We're either going to look forward or even down. To get more of that downward flow of energy. And we're breathing into the side of the rib cage. All right, let's try the other side. Inhale, coming up. And exhale to the other side. Walk your fingers out any amount. Spin that pinky finger, which helps rotate the shoulder, giving us more space to extend through the side body. Maybe that elbow is going to drop. Allow your right sit bone to stay heavy to increase that stretch on the side. And remember, gaze is either forward or down. Have another breath here, reaching long. And then next inhale will come up and release. We're going to switch the crossing of the legs. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, bring your hands onto your legs. Staying here for the next inhale. As you exhale, bring your right shoulder towards your left knee. And then just a little bit of pressing that right hand and thigh into each other. And then inhale, come up. Exhale to the other side. You're going to press your hand and your leg into each other, creating a little bit of resistance. And then again, one more each side. Inhale, come up. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Inhale, come up through center and just give the shoulders a little roll. And then we'll come into all fours for our tabletop pose and do some cat-cows. Now, if you wish, you could have a blanket down. I have one over my whole mat, which I'll take off when we start to flow. But some of you might want to have even extra padding under those knees. And then hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Really feel the texture of the ground beneath you, of your blanket, of your mat, of your carpet. Inhale, and as you exhale, push the ground away and round your spine. Drop your tailbone, drop your head. And then reverse. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, and round. Now keep going. And this is a pose we pretty much do every class because it really is a nice warm-up for your spine. Gets the spine lubricated, the fluid that goes from our cranium to our sacrum, cranial sacral fluid. So we want to keep that nice and flexible in our spine, having that fluid moving through. And then focus on really grounding through your palms, through your feet, through your shins. And a nice slow breath here. Now, you can even bring in some Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath, we have a little constriction in the back of the throat as we breathe in and breathe out. You want to almost feel like you're having an ocean sound in the back of your throat. This can be very stabilizing and calming for our nervous system. Okay, after the next round, come into neutral, and we'll take our child's child's pose. Sink your hips back, widen the knees, and come down into your child. And release fully into the support of the ground. Now from here, inhale, we're going to come up onto your heels, and then exhale slowly, hands down, slide out. Inhale, slide in, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down, slide out. One more time, inhale, slide in, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down, slide out. And then sliding back up from here, we're going to try our first squat. So you're going to tuck your toes under and just try to lift your knees off the ground a bit. Just try that a few times, going in and out to warm up the body a little bit for some later squatting. So this is good for warming up the feet, the knees, the hips. One more time. And then release. Okay, so from here, take that blanket out that was under your knees. Put that off to the side. And we're going to come down onto our bellies. And we're going to do a little bit of, this is a little acupressure work. We're going to make fists. And we're going to place the fist right above our hip bones, below your navel. And right in that place, that there's soft tissue above your hip bones. Okay? So come down onto your belly. And then you're going to lift your hips and slide those fists in there. So this is some acupressure for stomach, spleen, meridian. Your chin could be on the floor, your head could be turned, or your forehead on the floor. I'm going to keep facing you so it's easier for you to see and hear me. And then from here, let your body weight drop into your hands and find slow, deep breathing. Now, that might be enough, and you can certainly stay with that. The next stage is going to be to lift one leg at a time off the ground. When we do that, it's going to give more pressure into your fist, and the sensation is going to increase. So if it is intolerable, stick with your legs down, okay? So from here, reach your right leg back, and then lift it up. So right leg is lifting off the ground. Your weight shifts a little forward. Lift your shoulder heads. And now release. Come all the way down for a moment. And then lift your other leg off the ground. Reach it back and lift it up. Let your weight shift forward. And maybe you'll lift your shoulder heads, your head up, or keep your head down. Breathing into that soft tissue. Lift from your inner thigh. And release, take a rest. Stay with it, fists under there. I'm just coming out so it's easier to talk. And maybe turn your head the opposite way if you've been turning your head. If you're resting your forehead, you can stick with that. Now we're either going to stay with that on the ground, or some of you could try to lift both feet or legs off the ground. So fists in place, legs together, shift a little forward, and try to lift both legs, both shoulders, head can be up or down. Squeeze the legs together. Last breath. And then release. And now you can slide your hands out and rest your forehead on your hands. Give your hips a little up in a moment, and if you have a blanket down, we're going to take that out now, and we're going to flow for a little bit. So go ahead and remove anything that's on your mat. You might want to have blocks nearby. So do some lunges. But for now, coming back to tabletop pose, all fours. Inhale. Exhale, tuck your toes, hips back, down dog. Now adjust your dog. So you're going to come forward into a plank. And you want to make sure shoulders are over the wrists, heels over the balls of the feet, and then back to dog. Pedal out your feet, bend one knee and then the other. Again, waking up the feet, the Achilles, the calf muscles, all helpful for forward folds and squats. Okay, moving slowly, come to stillness. And we're going to inhale into plank for 5 counts. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might drop knees. Exhale back to dog. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat that 2 more rounds on your own. Inhale to plank for 5 counts. You can change those counts up if you wish. 4, 6, whatever works. Any number. So, but make them the same and do your best to move slowly. So slowness helps to create more earth element in our bodies. The faster we are moving through life, the more we're increasing air and space element, which can make us spacier, make us a little more less stable in our minds and bodies. So concentrate on stability as you move forward and back 1 more round. And then land in your dog and take a brief child's pose again, just to let your body rest. So when we're talking about earth element, we don't want to deplete, right? So if we push too hard and exhaust ourselves, we're depleting our resources. Excuse me. Felt like I was going to sneeze, but I didn't. Okay, so now we're going to progress to some slow sun salutations with building in some forward folds and other things along the way. So come back to your dog. And then from here, walk your hands back to your feet. So a little different. Hands back to the feet, feeling the ground. Bend your knees, hands to hips, and press all the way up to stand. And then I'm going to come facing you. You can be at the top of your mat. Standing in mountain pose, super grounding. Feel the texture of the ground beneath your feet. Feel the strength and stability of your legs. Even firm the legs. Firm the belly and take your tailbone down toward earth. Lift through the crown of your head and open the chest. Okay, so we're going to do half sun salutations, and we're going to make them, excuse me, I just put a little more music, a little louder. We're going to make them a little different in that we're going to visualize we're gathering earth, okay? So separate your feet a little wider than your hips, which is going to feel more stable than all the way together, makes us more wobbly, so just go a generous hips distance. And then inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, a generous bend in your knees. Come down and feel like you're scooping up the earth. Bring your palms together, pinkies touch, and up to the sky. As if you're bringing earth upward to the head. Lower down, scoop up earth, fingers together on the inside of your hands, and reach up. And imagining here that we're bringing that earth element up to our heads when we really need it. right? We get spacey in the head, foggy in the head. Really root through your feet, scoop up that earth, bring it upward. One more time. Scoop it up, reach it up, and now stay standing and bring the pinky and the ring finger to touch, holding it below your navel. Have a soft bend in your knees. Inhale, palms up toward the heart. Exhale, back down below the navel. Inhale, bring it up toward the heart. Exhale, back down toward earth. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, and down. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. We're going to start some full sun salutations. As you exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift, and then step back, plank pose. Top of your push-up, you can drop knees if you wish, chest forward, lower all the way down. Tops of the feet, feel the ground under your feet, texture of your mat. Inhale, curl up, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Now hold your dog for 5 breaths. Slight bend in your knees. Push into the ground, firm your arms. Let the sit bones lift high so the head gets closer toward the ground. Tractioning the spine, tip the sit bones up. And keep those arms strong. Have a nice long exhalation cycle throughout our practice. And you can come back to Ujjayi breath, constricting the back of your throat. Have an inhale. As you exhale, we move on the exhale. Walk your feet forward. So exhales are more stable. We want to move on the exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Long exhale. Scoop up that earth. Inhale, palms touch in the center. Reach up. And then release. Arms at your side. Good. 2 more cycles. And then we're going to finish with a longer hold in our forward fold. Inhale, the arms reach. Slow movement, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, chest lifts. Plant your hands, step back, plank pose. Lower all the way down. Option to drop those knees. Press the feet down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Stay in your dog, 5 breaths. With long exhale, sit bones lifting high. Chin slightly tucked and lengthen the back of your neck toward the top of your head. As you exhale, long exhale, Ujjayi breath. Squeeze out all the air. And then inhale, and as you exhale, walk forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Now we're going to stay in the fold. I'm going to come to face you. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. We're going to see if we can hook our big toes with our peace fingers. First 2 fingers, hook your big toes. Now for some of us that's very hard to do, so bend your knees to get there. And then massage your big toes with your thumbs. So there's some acupressure points in here that we're targeting in the feet. So give a nice rub, massage to the inner and outer toenail, across the top of the toe, and just then hold it after you give a nice little massage to your toes. Hold and squeeze your toes. Bend the elbows toward the sides. Kneecaps point forward, but tip the sit bones up. Let the head descend. Let the back of the skull move toward the crown of your head. Head is super heavy. Feel grounded through the legs. Long exhale. And then release your toes, scoop up the earth, pinky fingers touch, rise up, and release your arms at your side. We're going to go through that one more time, nice slow movement. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, step back, plank pose. Lower to your belly, knees can drop or not. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Right, that slight bend in your knees, firm your arms, tip your sit bones up, head descends. Now this time, with your sit bones lifted, let your heels come down. If that causes you to round your back, lift them up again. But this is to open the backs of the legs a bit more. Keep breathing your ujjayi. Little constriction, back of your throat. As you exhale, squeeze out all the breath. And then inhale as you exhale, look forward, walk your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Once again, I'm going to face you. This time, we're going to see if we can slide our hands under our feet. Very grounding, so we can also feel the points underneath our feet. If that's too much to put hands under feet, go back to grabbing big toes or dangle opposite elbows. Okay? If you can, hands under feet. Feet are a little wider, and then little bend in the knees, lift the sit bones up. Back of the skull toward the crown of the head. Slow, deep breaths, extending through your chest. Let your chest drop, let your organs drop. Shake the head out. Last breath. Squeeze it all out. And then release your hands. Bend your knees, hands to hips. Press into the ground and rise back up. Okay, we're going to try a couple of squats and alternate the squats with forward folds. These are all really grounding poses, also just calming the nervous system. So we're going to start with first squat with a block. So grab a block, and that block can be on any setting that works for you. And you're going to put it underneath your seat. And we'll sit on the block. Ooh, this is a skinny block, so gotta be careful there. Okay, so we're going to turn our feet out a little bit. And press the arms into the legs, and the legs into the arms. And try to lift into your chest. Press your feet down and feel the texture of your mat under your feet. Try to have your knees lined up with your toes and your ankles, so we don't want to twist it. Breathing here. So squatting encourages a down flow of energy, so the Apana Vayu, down into the roots. So imagine your feet have roots, your tailbone has roots, and they're anchoring you to that peace deep in the center of the earth. Allow that feeling of earth to replenish you, to help you feel stable and supported, helping you stay calm in times position. Okay, let's release this. We're going to put our hands down and lift up. And we're going to heel-toe the feet apart. So grab that block, bring it in front of you. Heel-toe your feet apart so you're in a wide leg position here. Okay? So we're going to have the toes turn slightly in, which is more stable. Bend those knees a little bit. Tip the sit bones and pelvic floor back. And we're going to start to walk the arms forward like down dog. And you might put your head on that block. Let your upper spine move in. Now let's do a few movements here. Inhale up on your finger pads. Lift your head. Lift your heels. Press into the balls of the feet. Those are some acupressure points there. And then exhale, sink your heels, your hips, your head back down to the block. Adjust that block so it can be under your forehead. And that's very grounding. Brings us back to that front brain. Inhale, lift up, arch your back. Lift your heels. Exhale and fold. One more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and fold. Now staying here, maybe the legs straight, maybe not. Let the head rest on the block. Pull the feet apart isometrically, creating more space in the root chakra. And then slowly walk your hands back in. We're going to heel-toe the feet back in. And we're going to try another squat. So here, bring the feet together and squat down. So for some of us, this is really challenging on the ankles. So I'm going to give you the option of using a blanket. Okay? So you could roll the blanket up or fold it up and put it behind you. And then you can put your heels up onto that blanket. And then you have something to push into. So even those of you who can do this without a blanket, I would recommend trying it because it gives you something to press into. And that's always more stable and more grounding. Now, from here, we're going to let the knees drop open. I like to lift up and down a few times just so I get really settled into the pose. And then from here, walk the fingers out like we did in that last pose. Come up on your finger pads. Inhale, lift and extend your spine, and then exhale, walk it out even more. Let your head go. Feel the ground under your feet. And gently press the feet downward. Breathe deeply here into your back body, into the backs of your lungs. The back rib cage. This is very nourishing for our system. Holding last breath. And then slowly walk it in. Bring those knees back in. Lift your hips and step off of the blanket and fold forward. But bend those knees, hands to hips. Strike the heels down to help propel you back up. Good. And now just stand in your mountain pose for a moment. Just feeling the kind of echo after effects of those squats and folds. We're going to do it one more round. So keep that blanket there in case you need it again. We're going to do another wide leg position. So step those feet apart wide again. Turn your toes in, heels out slightly. Root the feet down, root the heels down. Lift your chest up. And then from here, little bend in those knees to hinge from your hip creases, fold forward. This time we're not walking the hands out. We're going to see if we can maybe hold the big toes. But I want to see if you can maybe have a block for under your head. And that block can be any level that works for you. So if you can go all the way down to the ground, you can have it there. Otherwise, build that block up higher. And some of you might need 2 blocks. Stack them up, okay? So I can get my head to the floor, so I'm gonna come out of that. And if my feet are wide enough, I can get the head down. However, I want to just preface this by saying, the wider your legs go, the less rounded you're going to be. So chances are you feel like you're going to slip. So if you're too far wide, not stable. If you're too far in, you can't get that head down. So find the right space for you. Better to use the block than to not feel stable in this pose. Excuse me. So on your own, find your pose, and we're going to hold it here for about a minute or so. See if you can hook your big toes. Bend the elbows to the sides, pressing them forward. Maybe a little bend in your knees, and then re-extend, lifting your sit bones. Now I'm coming out so it's easier for me to talk to you. Stay with it a few more breaths, really feeling the imprint of the ground through your feet. See if you can stay broad across your shoulders, lift the shoulder heads, and then just widen through the elbows. You might even let the head gently press downward, not anything a lot, just a little gentle pressure through the crown of the head. Last 3 breaths. Just seeing where we're at. So we're running out of time. We're going to close very soon. All right. So now slowly starting to let go of the feet. Bring your hands out in front of you. Heel toe your feet in. Step back onto your blanket if you need it. This time the feet are apart and the toes turn out, and you're going to drop down into that squat one more time, different variation. And then this time we're adding the twist. So bring your right hand down to the floor or your ankle. Take your left arm, open it up into a twist. Press this leg and arm into each other to help you open your hip. And then let's try the other side. Bring that hand down. Reach up, press the arm and leg into each other as you reach and turn. Reach up, up, up. And then release. Good. And then from here, we're going to sit. Take those legs out. Okay. Have that blanket that you had under your heels in front of you. And then find another blanket or pillow to sit on. We're going to take a seated forward fold next. So pull that blanket underneath the backs of your knees. Pull your sit bones apart and slightly back. And this helps facilitate the tipping of the pelvis to come into the forward fold. Okay, so we'll inhale here, and the blanket under the knees keeps a nice softness there. Start to fold forward from your hip creases, and if you're finding that the hamstrings are limiting you, you're going to make that bend in the knee bigger by lifting them away from the blanket. That's fine. Those of you who can, legs stay straight. Slowly fold. And then you're going to press your arms into your outer legs, legs into your outer arms. As you inhale, extend through the crown of your head as the tailbone anchors down. Reach, reach, reach through the head. Press arms and legs into each other. Feel that space you're creating. And now let go and fold. Now, even though we're being more passive, you stay in it. I'm going to talk you through it. Let the head feel like it's reaching away from your tailbone. Allow your chest to drop. And feel like you're softening through the tops of your lungs. Allow the weight of your heart to drop energetically. So you're still in the pose. I'm just talking you through it. Allow effortless, slow breathing. We're holding here a little longer. Effortless, slow breathing, chin slightly in, and let the back of your skull reach toward the crown of your head. Allow the skin on your back body to spread, soften. Through your shoulder blades, your lower back, and your pelvic floor. With each exhale, soften through your collarbones. Feel your armpits dropping. Continue to breathe. We're having 3 more breath cycles here. After that 3rd breath, come out a little bit, tone the belly, and then extend through your head and your spine and start to slowly come up. Take your time. Okay, so from here we're going to come onto our backs. And you might wish to have that blanket for under the back of your head. As you come down, let's give those knees a hug into the chest again and feel the sacrum drop into the earth. So the sacrum bone is very heavy and kind of built to last. It supports the whole weight of our spine. And it is said to be the last bone to decompose in the body. We are no longer here. It's a really important bone. See if you can feel that bone press a little bit toward the ground, creating a curve in your lower back. And then hold on to the tops of your knees and alternate. One knee away, one knee in. One knee away, one knee in. Do that a few times. And then we're going to bring both knees in and set them down. Coming into supported bridge, lift your hips, slide your block under that same sacrum bone. And then I like to take the blanket out for this one. It's up to you. If it feels good and you like it, that's fine. But I don't like to have that too much stretch in the back of my neck when I come into a legs up. So we're going to lift the feet, rock a little bit side to side on that block, and then take the legs up. And from here, we're going to have a bend in those knees. So it's very soft. And then take the arms up and let them be equally soft. Now, as the arms and legs are soft, the back body, the back of the head, and the sacrum are dropping into the earth. And then we're going to do a little pulley. Reach through the right arm and let your head roll to the left. And then the opposite. So when I reach through one arm, my head rolls. Just get a little massage across your upper back as you roll side to side. And if you can, close your eyes. Just be really subtle with your awareness. Feel like the shoulder blade pulls away from the spine as you reach. Almost like you're opening up through your upper back. One more round. And then let the arms dangle upward, feet are soft, hands are soft, shoulders heavy, head heavy, sacrum heavy. Let your legs move a little bit away from you so that you feel the sacrum on the block. And then float your arms down. Let those legs stay soft in the air. So we're trying to be a little more nourishing rather than extend them and engage them. We're just going to be soft. And then let the knees drop down. Tractioning your lower back a little bit so you can have the feet facing upward. So I'm kind of off the block halfway, but I'm tractioning my lower back. Knees get heavier. If it feels okay, let those knees come down towards your armpits. And then maybe hold the backs of the legs. Bring the knees in and we'll set them back down. Maybe one at a time or both at the same time. Back into a supported bridge. Drop the sacrum. And now lift the hips, slide the block out, coming down slowly. Arms out to a T, and we'll just windshield wiper side to side. Letting the head rock with the knees in the same direction. Very soothing. And let the legs and head go all the way to a stop. And then up and over to the other side, slow motion, all the way to a stop. One more time each side. Slowly over to one side. Stop and drop. And last time, knees up. And drop to the other side. Come back up, hug your knees in. And coming into Shavasana from here. So I'm going to pull that blanket back in under my head. Make sure you're just clothing so you have no wrinkles that are going to interfere with your relaxation. And maybe you're going to support the backs of your knees. You can put a bolster or we have that blanket. So I'm going to bring in a pillow with that rolled blanket under my knees on top of the pillow. And whatever you have at home, sofa cushion, bolster, and then come to your Shavasana. And let your body sink into that sensation of earth again, clay of the earth, holding and contouring your body. With every exhale, become that space of the earth, as if your body could merge and become part of the earth. Let the mind drop back, head drop back, the brain get heavy toward the back of the skull. Bringing a quality of earth to the brain, to the mind, to our thoughts. Notice the nourishing qualities of this practice on your physiology and on your mind. With every breath, let the particles muscles of your body settle more downward. Let the organs drop, bones drop, flesh drop. Feel the tissue within, the connective tissue, soften and drop. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes there. I'm going to be coming out. Stay with your Shavasana. So option to stay where you are for as long as you wish, or perhaps you're ready to come out and finish practice with me. So when you feel ready, you can start to deepen into your breath, move fingers and toes, stretch it out a bit, before coming over to your right side and pausing. Now if you feel ready, use the earth, press down, and bring yourself back up to a seated posture. We're going to come back to two faces, mudra, pinky finger, ring finger below your navel. Close your eyes. Focus on the breath. Feel the pinky touch. Feel the ring finger touch. Feel receptive here in your palms. Allow the shoulders to drop away from the ears as you take the base of your skull toward the crown of the head. Let the sit bones root down and imagine those roots taking hold, taking root, anchoring you to that deep peace within the earth. So I'll finish with another Mary Oliver poem. Been sharing a few of these lately. This one is called I Worried. And again, worry is one of the signs of a depleted earth element. I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? Will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Was I right? Was I wrong? Will I be forgiven? Can I do better? Will I ever be able to sing? Even the sparrows can do it, and I am, well, hopeless. Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, lockjaw, dementia? Finally, I saw that worrying had come to nothing, and I gave it up. And I took my old body and went out into the morning and sang. So in these last few breaths, just bring your hands together in front of your heart space. Pausing there for a few breaths. Letting go of worry. Remembering yourself. All of those forgotten, scattered parts of the self. hopefully a little closer to home, a little more whole after a practice of grounding. On your next inhale, allow the heart to lift a little higher, and exhale, bow your head to your heart. And thank you, everyone. Namaste. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day. Stay grounded.